Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there, just to let me know that it is indeed working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. Hopefully your trading's been going well. I know our COT trades, at least last time I checked, were doing pretty great. So I'm excited to talk about that. Excited to discuss more price action trades with you guys today. I'm hoping to take a trade or two today. That's my goal. And also just update you on the other trades we have open, just the pending orders, and we'll check to see if those are still valid setups or not. But yeah, we got a good agenda today, just some things to do, so I'm excited about that. Also, just want to welcome everybody here and want to extend a warm welcome to those that are new with us in the program. If you are new to the program, let us know in the chat box. Let us know what state or what country you're from so we can welcome you here. And I also want to give a shout out to those of you on YouTube. Want to say hello to you guys and welcome you to participate in any way you can. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section down below. If you're here live, feel free to ask those questions in the chat box. All right, guys, before we jump into our live trading, as always, I need to remind you about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. All right, guys. So let's definitely plug in our COT signals and just see how we're sitting for the week right now. So yesterday we were up 57 pips when we checked. This morning I was up a little bit more. It's pulled back just slightly, but not a ton, which is good. But let's go ahead and update where we're at. So just as reference, yesterday we were up 57 pips. Let's see where we're at now. So on the dollar yen, I think this is my best trade. Dollar yen's up 163 pips right now, which is awesome. And it's just Tuesday. So, a lot of good things could happen to that trade by the end of the week. USD franc, that one is up 36 pips at the moment. Pound yen is up 78. Pound franc, this is my only one that's down, and it's down 33. Euro yen is up 126 pips. And my euro franc trade is up 10 pips right now. So that's where we're sitting at. So we're up at the moment, we're up 380 pips on the week, and it's just Tuesday. So definitely a lot could happen. We could see this really turn into an extremely positive week, especially if we let our trades run. Again, if you've had trades close on you via the trailing stop or the stop loss for whatever reason, leave them alone. I don't know or don't think it's necessarily worth entering. If you need help taking these trades, let's say if you don't think you put in your trailing stop incorrectly, or if you don't think you put in your stop loss correctly or used a lot size calculator well, reach out to me because I'd be more than happy to help. The other thing that you can do is every Wednesday night, we do COT report night, and this is where I'm going to teach you how to set it up as far as how the strategy works, all the way to the mechanics of finding what a stop loss looks like, how to plug in your trailing stop. I actually did a demo of myself taking these trades about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. So this is just, I screen recorded myself taking these trades on a Sunday night so that you guys could see the process through how to use the lot size calculator. So I basically took the trades as if I were you. If you feel like you need that, send me a message. I will send you that video. In fact, I think I have it on YouTube, or actually, no, it's not just on YouTube. It's on the calendar. So let me grab it on the calendar. Actually, I can just do this. It's right here. I'll just put it in the chat box for those that want it. It's both on the Forex Plus and Forex calendar, so anybody should be able to access this. Let me pull it up real quick, and this will help you guys set up the trades if you feel like you're not doing it correctly. So it was this class back in July. Happy August 1st, by the way. Time is moving, isn't it? So here it is. It was on the 11th. For reference. So July 11th, I actually filmed it on July 9th, but I posted this on July 11th, Tuesday, July 11th. So if you want this here, let me go ahead and copy this link here so you guys can have the access to this. Yeah, this is it right here. So I'll put this in the chat box for everybody if you want it. It's a huge, big link. So if you don't want to copy that huge link, just go to the calendar, go to July 11th, and that's the class where I just went through the process of taking these trades on as if I were you guys, right? So that would be a good one to watch over and over again, however many times you need to watch it, so that you can replicate the setup exactly how I did it. Okay. So, okay, back to this. So like I was saying, if you have trades that have closed, again, I wouldn't worry about it unless you feel like you made a mistake. Maybe it would still be worth getting in. That kind of stinks if that happened, but you can fix it going forward, right? But this is the current results. So this is literally just straight from my this is straight from my account here. So we're 380 pips, and it's just Tuesday morning. So again, this could really change. We could see things really move in our favor. We could also see things pull back and hit trailing stops. Some of these trades are guaranteed to win at this point. For example, the dollar yen, it's up 163 pips. So guaranteed that trailing stop has moved up on that one. That one is a guaranteed win. The other guaranteed win is this euro yen. It's moved up so far that it's so far in our favor at this point that the trailing stop would kick us out if anything happened. So there are a few trades that are already guaranteed wins at this point. Some of these are not at that point yet. For example, the dollar franc, I don't believe is there. Pound franc could lose. It is currently losing. It's the only losing trade right now. Euro franc could lose. It's just barely positive. So you do have a couple of things in here that may or may not be positive on the week. So we'll find out, right? Steve says, I couldn't get in on your calendar. I had to use the link you sent us. Yeah, let me know if what's going on with the calendar. If you have an issue with the calendar, send me a screenshot of what's going on. Also, make sure that you are logged into your account before you try to access the calendar. If you try to access any of these links here, which by the way, I'm adding some other things. I'm going to add another tab here pretty soon called Sentiment, which will be fun. That's going to be a tab that will be accessible by the members for you guys to be able to view some of my sentiment strategies. And I'm actually going to include my own sentiment index, which will be kind of cool. We're also going to be adding another tab here. It's going to be just my strategies index, and this is our strategies tab, not index, and it's going to have a list of all my strategies in PDF format, so you can download whatever strategy you want to learn. If you want to learn about the banker's close strategy, you want to learn about COT report, sentiment strategies, the 3-bar reversal strategy, like any strategy that I trade, you'll be able to access that here, which is going to be pretty cool. And the other tab I'm making, so last final tab, is one called basic training, and that's going to have basically a list view of all the basic webinars. So if you're new to the program or need extra help, that's going to be a great place to go right there. So that's something that I'm working on. I'm really trying to expand that out a little bit more and give you guys some more options. Like I said, if you did stop out on any of these trades, go ahead and stop them out, or let them close out on their own if that's the case. Some of you might be up a little bit more. I took my trades a little bit late on Sunday night, and I noticed by the time I got to the market on Sunday that a lot of these trades had already moved in our favor. So some of you, if you took your trades early, might have actually gotten better entries than me. I'm sure some of you are probably a lot more positive than I am. So it just kind of depends on where you got in, right? All right, so cool. So there's your COT report for the week so far. And again, one last thing, definitely hold these trades, guys. I know the feeling is to want to take your profits, and you know, especially if you come off of a couple of losing weeks. July was rough. July was just a rough month. It's going to go down. It went down in history as a losing month. You know, we've traded this strategy for 32 months. So far, August has been a plus month, right? Because we're just getting started. But yeah, July was bad. So we've had 8 losing months in 32 months, right? So, you know, you're going to have losing months. That's all I can say is you're going to have losing months. And now we're back. So far, we're back to positivity. And historically, August has been normally pretty good. So I'm looking forward to August. Historically, September's been good. Historically, October's been good. November's have been pretty good. So, you know, in my opinion, I feel like we're on to a 4-month win streak. And with that in mind, though, I got to remind everybody there will be losing weeks in that 4 months, but I do anticipate more winning weeks than losing weeks going forward. And so one way you're going to do really, really well with this is if you have the commitment to stay in your winning trades. You know, don't close out your, you know, you've got a trade right now that's up 163 pips on the dollar yen. Don't hit the X button. Don't close it out. Same thing with all the other ones that are open. Don't close them. Leave them alone. Let them go till Friday. And yeah, you know, there's going to be some weeks where you're going to wish you had closed them early, but there's going to be plenty of weeks where you're going to kick yourself if you close your trades early, and it's going to be worse. So like some of these trades have the potential, like the dollar yen, pound yen, euro yen. Those three I could see those going 300 or 400 pips more this week each. Literally each trade. So you could have 1,000+ pip week, and we're just on Tuesday. And if you go back, if you guys remember the week we had right here where we made almost 1,300 pips, it was very similar to this week where you were up, you know, 300, 400 pips on the week Tuesday, but then by Friday you're up over 1,000 pips on the basket of trades. So, you know, making 380 pips might sound pretty good, but when you could have made 1,300, it really stinks, right? So you got to let those winners run. All right, so that's all I'm going to say there. You guys can do whatever you want from that point, but I want to make sure it's very clear that I said to hold. Okay. All right, guys. So, all right, let's talk about some of these other trades. So let's switch gears, COT report now to price action. And let's talk about the true trades we have open. So we have two price action trade setups open right now. We have this pound yen pending order, and we have our US 30 order, which we'll check in just a moment. Let's look at this one. This is the one we took yesterday. So far, to me, it still looks pretty good. So the market's moved up, and it's kind of been back and forth. It hasn't really done a lot. It's mostly been consolidating in this range. We had, as you guys know, that break in structure yesterday, right here. And we identified this area to be a liquidity zone. How did we identify that? Well, one, you can eyeball it, and then you can use the indicators. So as far as eyeballing goes, you can definitely see that there is kind of a consolidation, a little bit of a contraction going on here, just as the market's hitting up against this trend line, right? And then it breaks through. So this was kind of the last known area where there was a little bit of a hiccup before a major leg higher. And so that could be considered liquidity. Now, how can we confirm that? Just pull up the different order block indicators. As you guys know, you can do this, and you can light up all three. I use the Smart Money from Luxalgo, Order Block Detector from Luxalgo, and the Sonar Lab Order Block Indicator. And yeah, this area is certainly showing up to be kind of a liquidity zone, especially in the first half of that pink or purple area I've drawn out. And if you pull up the different time frames, here's a 2-hour, you've got a little something there on the 2-hour. Let's try a 45-minute. A little bit going on. It looks like there's actually quite a bit just below this, so we'll see if that holds. 30 minutes it's actually kind of like everywhere on this 30 minutes, all the way from here all the way down to here. So that one's a little bit confusing. The 15 minutes got it, same thing, it's just scattered throughout. So highly bullish throughout this region. However, it does appear that when you come to the hourly chart, this is the only really consistent area, is this right here. So this is kind of the liquidity that we're hoping the market comes in and tags. I'm going to be patient for that. I don't want to force a trade. So for example, a lot of people might be interested in just buying now. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to wait for the market to come to us first, and we'll go from there. So I do like this area. If anything, I'd probably would want to tighten this up a little bit, something like that. But I think we wanted to include that little candle right there. So that's why we increased the stop loss just slightly to include that. So this trade's worth holding. So you heard it here, guys. I'm going to hold this trade. We'll probably make an update in Telegram as well later, but just if you've got it set up, just leave it set up. There's nothing wrong with this one. It may or may not trigger, but if it triggers, it's worth taking. If it doesn't trigger, then good for us because the COT trade's already in this and it's up on, and we're excited for an up move this week. So that's kind of what I anticipate happening. This could either go straight up from here, or you could see it bounce into something like this. It could bounce into here, and then you'll get your big, massive move to the upside. And I could see that happening by Friday, where, let's see, Friday would be like right here. Yeah, that's Friday. Something like that is how I could see the week playing out. I'm not saying it will, but I see that as a very high probability setup and time frame for this trade to play out. So you definitely could see a pullback soon and in the immediate future with the pound yen, but by the end of the week, I still see it moving even higher. Okay, so there's that trade. Let's talk about US 30. That's the other trade we have open. We took this one on Friday. And this one we're being a little bit aggressive, maybe not aggressive, maybe actually conservative. It just depends on how you look at it. But let's kind of talk about the mechanics of this particular trade. So with US 30, we have this nice trend line to the upside that's been going since the beginning of July. That trend line had your 3 points of engagement and then recently broke here at the end of July. And now we have a break of structure with a subsequent imbalance. So you have a very unstable US 30 right now. That's what's going on. And if this thing taps into liquidity or taps into a supply zone, there's a very high likelihood that you're going to see a pullback on US 30. Okay, because we've already broken through structure. It's very hard for markets to the markets don't forgive. Let's put it this way. Traders don't forgive the market. That's a better way of saying it. Traders don't forgive the market if this happens, especially on a more macro trend like we're seeing here. This is the higher time frame, hourly chart. This has been in the makes for like a month now. The market doesn't really forgive when this kind of thing happens. So that's why I'm saying if this thing comes up to supply, which is we've identified it to be kind of up in this area, it's just going to pull back. And you can see the market's already floundering right now. Look how much it's floundered since it broke that trend line. That's to be expected. So all I'm looking for is just one quick little pop into that liquidity zone, just like that. And then boom, off to the races. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. The thing that would stink is if it did it without us, which could happen. It could go straight down right now. But I would rather wait to get the risk to reward ratio that I want before giving up on this. So I'm going to leave this trade open. This is still very much a valid trade. This one probably has a better chance of triggering sooner than the pound yen does. And we identified this zone to be pretty liquid. If you pull up these indicators, you can actually see this area light up. There's a lot of demand down here. Obviously, I'm kind of ignoring that demand because it's not in context with the structure of the market right now. So all you want to do is just find supply zones. On the 1 hour, there's definitely some supply kind of hidden up in here. You can't see it very well, but it's hidden up in there. If you go to a different time frame, let's try a 2 hour. 2 hours got tons of stuff kind of hidden just right above this apex high. Lots of stuff up in there. If you go to a 3 hour, yep, 3 hours just loaded with stuff right in there. There's also something up in here, but that's pretty far away. So I think this is well in context of what we're trying to find. You go to a 4 hour time frame, also same thing. It's just loaded. There's tons of stuff up in there. So again, don't worry about the demand order blocks when structure breaks like this. If it breaks to the downside, you're not really looking for buys anyway. So forget the demand levels. I mean, use the demand to find your take profit, but don't use the demand to help you get into a buy, because why would you buy right now? The structure's clearly breaking down. There's no reason to buy. this is no longer an uptrend, folks, right? Like sometimes traders, you guys know this by now, but a lot of traders, when they're new to the market, they look at this and they think it's an uptrend. No, this is a downtrending market. And why is it a downtrending market? Because this happened. So we're now in a downtrend, and so when we're in a downtrend and we're at the forefront of a downtrend, we need to be looking for supply, which is known as sell liquidity. So we've got to find sell liquidity to get the market lower. And clearly, a lot of people have their stop losses just above this apex high. So there's a lot of liquidity stashed up in here, and I do believe if we can tap right into that, we should get a move to the downside. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen. I just take the best shot I can possibly take, and that appears to be the best shot. So let's just continue to wait for that to pop up into that zone, and then we'll sell it from there. So in the meantime, while we have those two trades waiting, we can certainly look for other setups. Oh, let me go back to that real quick. So Darwin has a question. Would you mark up the new trend line on the bottom? Yeah, definitely that's possible. So you could argue that, there's a little bit of a trend going on here. I think that's what you're talking about. And actually that looks like it's breaking down. That's already breaking down. So yeah, the US 30 is toast, guys. If it were to break through all this and start a new uptrend, I would be so surprised. I would, because you have to reconvince all the traders who were long, who have now exited their long positions, to bring their capital back. So you have to convince everybody again, and I don't know how you do that. The only way you would do that is if you could clearly show that the structures that have been forming for the bears are now violated, and it's time to go up again. So I guess that's good, but it would take a lot of confusion and volatility to create a new uptrend. So as far as we can tell, there's blood right now, and this market's on the verge of pulling down. So yeah, you could definitely start drawing that out. But yeah, like I said, I'm just expecting a move to the downside soon with US 30. Okay, so let's continue our search, guys. So what I like to do is when I'm looking for trades, when I'm trading price action, I like to trade on a 1 hour time frame. By the way, somebody asked me yesterday, Steve, why do you trade on the hourly? Because 5 minute will give you a lot more opportunities. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, I feel like the hourly time frame and the 15-minute time frames are more in context with those with what the banks are actually trying to accomplish. So if you find breaks of structure on a 15-minute hourly time frame, you're in context with news events, you're in context with fundamentals, and so price action and fundamentals go hand in glove. And when they come together like that on that time frame, on those two time frames, to me it just works out great. Same thing with 4 hours and dailies. Those are great time frames too. You will get far fewer opportunities on those time frames, but they're still pretty good. Again, my recommendation is if you want to trade the 1 minute and the 5 minute charts, you need to trade them around market opens. So if you can trade Tokyo open, then do Tokyo, or London, do London, or New York, New York, right? But you got to trade around opens because you need volatility to be able to use the 1 minute and 5 minutes. So you're in context with the market if you're doing a 1 minute and 5 minute around opens. So like the first 1 to 2 hours of an open would be good. But other than that, if you're trying to trade a 1 minute or a 5 minute in the middle of the afternoon here in the United States, you're out of context and it just doesn't make sense anymore. You'll lose money, in my opinion, if you try to do that. So you can trade the hourly and 15-minute at any time of the day because there's setups lining up that won't necessarily take place in the afternoon. You're just trying to get ready for those moves to come in the next 12 to 48 hours, something like that. So that's why I trade that. That's one reason. The next reason why I trade the hourly and 15-minute is because it actually is for you guys. Let me tell you why. So a lot of the times, so I've been running signal programs for about 10 years now. I have a lot of experience running signals. And one of the things I ran into when I first started a signals program 10 years ago with a totally different company, it was actually a prop firm. I was running a signal program for a prop firm. And the problem I had was I was sending out signals on a 1 minute and 5 minute chart, and I would send out a trade and it'd be over in an hour. And people were still making their coffee, and they're like, Steve, what the heck? I'm paying for this service, but I missed your trade. I totally missed your trade. And it was really annoying because we would report a win and they'd be like, I didn't take it. I missed your trade. So that was a big issue. Is we were posting a lot of trades every morning. We're posting 2 or 3 trades a morning, but people were just missing trades all the time, and it was just kind of a mess. So trading on the 15-minute and the hourly is actually designed so that you guys have the chance to hop into trades at the same prices I'm getting in at. It's signal programs are not very valuable unless you're able to get in, in a timely manner. So like if you're at the store or dropping your kids off at school, you should be able to have time to be able to come back and get to the computer and timely take the trade, if that makes sense. So that's another reason why we do that. So if that ever comes up as an issue to you, like why I'm trading on the hourly, just know that that's the alternative. Is you're going to miss a lot of signals if we trade, the 5-minute chart. And that's fine. You can do the same thing. It's just this is going to help you take more trades. All right, guys. So like I was saying, let's go ahead and look for some setups over here. Let's kind of go one by one. That's kind of my routine every day on the hourly chart. And I'm just looking for either a massive break in a structure like a horizontal support resistance zone like this, or I'm looking for a trend line break like this, right? So this is actually kind of an interesting one just as we're looking at it. So you technically had a trend line right here, and you had a break going on right here. And this one actually came back down and recontinued with its downtrend, and now it's really choppy and messy here. It basically appears to have found a liquidity zone in this area, and this area right here, and it popped from that zone. Yeah, it just kind of popped off of that zone right there. And now it's back down again. So that's kind of an interesting thing. At this point, I'm really not interested in it just because of the way I trade. And I don't like markets that go deep back into their trend lines like you see here. So when this thing popped originally, I would have liked for this to mainly stay above that line. But since it didn't, I probably wouldn't be very interested in it at this point. So I'm like I said, I'm looking for textbook setups. That's what I'm looking for. Here's this one from the other day. This Aussie franc been quite back and forth. Here's the Aussie yen. We looked at this one the other day. No trend to work with at the moment. Okay, so this one does have a trend line. Well, let's see. Actually, no, I thought it was lining up. I wouldn't call that a trend yet, honestly. You need to have 3 points of engagement. So I'll skip it. And then right here, you've got oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is exactly what I was just talking about on that Aussie CAD. So this one did break its trend right here. And markets can go back into their trend line like this. And again, a lot of times when that happens, eventually you'll get a good pop like you did here. You got a nice little pop here. But I'm not a big fan of markets that go right back into their trends like that. That's yeah, that's kind of weird, honestly. If it does that, it's like, is this really going to be a good trade? I don't know about that. So, and honestly, at this point, I would assume that it's back to its downtrending nature. So I'd skip this one too. This is one we looked at last week. I'm going to delete that now. Yeah, so you can definitely, so Oh yeah, you're talking about the Aussie yen. We'll go back and look at it, but it's similar to this one. Like for example, with the CAD yen here, you are breaking horizontal support resistance. So it's not just structure that's a trend line. Like right here, you definitely broke above this, right? That's a break of structure right there for sure. So yeah, can you trade off of that? Absolutely. I would prefer, you guys have seen me do this all the time. If it can break both, I get really excited. So when you look at, let's actually come back to this. The pound yen, this is what I love about the pound yen. Not only did you break the BOS as far as the trend goes, but we also broke this line right here. So there's a BOS right here as well. So we have two BOS from two different structure points, right? So this gets me really, really, really excited about the long prospect of the pound yen. And yeah, the Aussie yen's the same way. Let's go actually take a look at it real quick. So Aussie yen, well, let's see what we've got here. I don't like this as much, but you guys remember this trade we took last week? That trade's over now. But it does appear it wants to break to the upside. I just don't really have a trend line to draw on this at this point. You are breaking, like we broke this line right here. So that would be considered a BOS to the upside. Yes. And it does look fine. Like I could definitely see a setup in here. There might even be a possibility to buy on this thing right here. And yeah, this might get a pop here even. We'll see if it pops there to the upside. But if I had to pick between this one and the pound yen, I would go pound yen all the way. 100% I'd go the pound yen. And it's because of the very fact that you broke the trend line and a major apex high. You've got both of those things, both of those confirmations on the pound yen. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying, Brooks, and yeah, that's really good. Yep. And this one I like probably a little bit more just because this one's very obvious, right? So you broke this right here. That's definitely a BOS. And because of that, it probably means that you're not going to break down too far on this one. There could be opportunities like right in here for a buy. I could see that as an opportunity right there. I don't think it'll go all the way down to here, but you could see some buying opportunities right in here as well. Those would be your two buying areas on the CAD yen. And I might come back and look at this. If we can't find anything else, I might come back to this guy. But I do want to find not just a horizontal break in structure, but if I can find something with a trend line too, that's even better. This one, I guess you could argue that this was a little bit of a trend line here. It's not that good though. And in fact, you can't even draw the 3 points of engagement. So honestly, I'm going to delete that line. Yeah, but we'll come back to that one. Okay, so this is something from the other day that we saw that's now over. Let's see. Wow, that Euro Aussie's been back and forth. All right, here's the Euro CAD. Okay, this is interesting. This guy had a trend right here that broke, and then he had a trend right here that broke. It's wanting to break up, but it's struggling. Struggling to do it. Every time it breaks up, it's met with some supply, but every supply is met with a demand. So that's kind of interesting. But again, I'm looking for that textbook setup. For me, that's just kind of my philosophy with this stuff, guys, is my philosophy is take the best trades you can possibly take during a week. So I'd rather take, 5 trades a week, we'll say, one a day. Let's say 2 or 3 don't even trigger. Let's say 2 or 3 do trigger, 1 to 2 win, or even 2 lose and 1 wins, right? If you get just one, if you get two wins a week at a 1 to 3 to 1 to 5, that's your whole week. You're good. You're totally set at that, especially if you can get it closer to 1 to 5. Even if it's just 1 to 3 and you had 2 losses, you're still profitable in the week. If you have 2 wins at 1 to 3, so you make 6%, and then you have 1 loser, well, that 1 loser loses you 1%, you still made 5% on the week. So that's kind of that's kind of how I look at it. I just try to take fewer trades, but I try to take the very best I can find. So again, looking at this guy right here, it does appear that we're breaking, like on the Euro Franc, this does look bullish, which is also good because we are literally buying this with the COT report, right? So where could this guy go? Again, use the order block detector. Looks like this is a liquidity. This area is lighting up quite a bit. This area right here. That could be a good place to buy potentially for the Euro Franc. I might do that. I'm thinking about it. It looks like I missed this opportunity to buy here. I think somebody, was it Darwin or who somebody caught it right here. Somebody was able to find this opportunity on the Euro Franc to buy right there. That's pretty good. There might be another opportunity to buy it again right there. So I might do that one. I do want to look at some of these other setups. You caught it, David. Nice work. Yeah, that's super awesome. I'm going to write this down because I might place another setup on here. But I do, like I said, I'm trying to find the very best trades I can find. Okay, Euro Pound's looking good too. Like this guy broke this recently. That just happened in this last hour, right there. So he's making higher lows. These lows are higher than the previous lows, right? And now you're subsequently getting a higher high. So that's a good sign, right? So where could you buy on this? So far, it looks like this is where the liquidity's at, right here, right there. We might consider that, but I'm going to keep looking. Yeah, this Euro Yen's looking pretty good. I could really see this one break up this week. I could see the Euro Yen, making a new higher high. Okay. But I don't have really anything to work with as far as like a trend or anything like that, so I'm going to skip it. Okay, Euro dollar. Honestly, the Euro dollar is looking kind of bearish right now. I'm not seeing much here that would indicate that the bulls are in control. I mean, look how powerful that move was right there. Those 2 candles or 3 candles. That was just 2 candles right there. So those are banks, guys. When you see big candles like that, that's not a retail trader. That's a bank trying to say we're offloading our position. Okay, that's what's going on right there. And so when I see stuff like that, I don't get really excited about buying because it's just not set up the way you want to see it. Also, not that I trade this a lot, but this is technically a bearish pattern. This is often called a descending triangle, and these often wind up going lower. So I'm not saying it will, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that Euro dollar is probably going to go lower this week. Do I have a trend to really work off of? I kind of did. It's funny. It actually broke right here for a brief period, and then it just sank. But it does appear that this one's actually continuing the downtrend, even though it kind of broke right there. If it had broken, pulled back, and then continued higher, I would have forgiven. I would have said, yep, okay, so we're going to go up. This was good. But the fact that this has, when it tried to come back up, it just went right back down, that's not a good sign. So it's a bearish signal at this point. Is it enough to trade? For me, not. It's not the setup I want, but if anything, I just would guess it's going to go down. So I'm going to move on. Okay, here's the pound Aussie. This thing is obviously, as you guys know, breaking up. And we had a nice trend. Actually, we do have a nice trend here. So that's kind of nice. We'll want to monitor that, because if that at some point this guy breaks, we're going to want to be the first to that so that we can start looking for sells. But at the moment, you should be looking for buys on this one, because you are breaking to the upside right here. This is a breakage structure. Yeah, it's currently breaking up, so you don't want to look for buys or sells. You don't want to look for sells right now on the pound Aussie. Okay, let's continue looking. Okay, we'll want to monitor this one closely. So far, it's kind of consolidating and forming a little bit of a pennant type of thing, or a symmetrical triangle on the pound CAD. Yeah, actually, we'll want to take a close look at this one, because this one could it will at some point either break up or break down. So if it breaks below, we'll want to place right here an alert right here. If it breaks below that line, because that means it's going down, most likely. So I'm going to add an alert there, so that when that happens, we can look for sells. I'm not going to sell when it happens. I'm going to look for selling opportunities. If it breaks above this line right here, I'm going to look for buying opportunities. But again, I'm not going to buy there. I'm just going to go ahead and start my search at that point. So it's really delicate, guys. You don't want to just jump into something just because it looks like one thing or the other. You really want to wait for your exact setup. Okay, you want to be very specific about your setups. There are pips all the time, and I feel like sometimes we have this fear of missing out, but you really do want to just get in on the right setup. Okay, we saw that last week. We took a lot of really good trades last week that were non-COT report. It was actually really nice to have some really good price action setups last week. But why did that happen? Well, I think it's because we went through this process of really scrutinizing the trades. We only let the best trades through, right? Yeah, we've already talked about this one. This is actually a really good trade, so we'll leave that one alone. That's a really good setup. Okay, so here's the pound Kiwi. This is interesting. So you have a trend here. This is actually really interesting. So this one actually had a trend to the upside and broke it recently. Right here, we broke. Okay. And it's come back up into the trend, which is fine. That's okay as long as it comes into liquidity and then pulls back. I am kind of curious to see what it does from here. I don't know if I would do anything with it at the moment. Trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing. No, it's very sideways, the pound Kiwi, over the last couple months. Yeah, it's not my setup, so I'm going to leave it alone, but it's just interesting to see. Okay, here's the pound dollar. This guy, dang, I missed this one. That's too bad. Here's the pound dollar. Did anybody catch this? This is awesome. Look at the pound dollar here. So pound dollar had a nice trend line right here that started back at late June all the way to the July. It was up, broke its trend right here, and then there was blood in the streets, right? So when this happens, you're looking for sells. You're just waiting for the collapse once this happens, and it sure enough took place just right there, and then boom, gone, right? So what can you do at this point? At this point, you're just looking for sells until it breaks it up again. It looks like we might have a little bit of a trend going on right here. Um, um, looks like, like I said, it looks like it might be breaking down. So yeah, you're just looking for sells until that changes. So pound dollar's bearish this week until, again, get something different. Here's NAS 100. Oops, let me fix this. There we go. NAS 100, it has very similar, it's been a little bit stronger than the US 30, but very similar to US 30. So with this guy, he had a big trend for a long time. This goes back all the way to like April actually. And then look what we're doing now. We're just navigating right on the trend line. This is not good, by the way. If this happens, that's an unhealthy trend. It's toxic, okay? What you want with trend lines is you want the market to come and tap into it and then go up. This one tapped in and then just stayed here. So that's toxic. So pretty much you're looking for supply zones on NAS 100. I'm not going to double down on this because we already have a position to do that very thing. We already know about this. That's why we're trading US 30. Okay, what do we have here? So here is NZD CAD. I wouldn't call that a trend quite yet, just because we don't quite have the 3 points of engagement. So I'm going to skip that. NZD franc. It does appear that this high, yep, this high just recently broke above this high. So I would call this a break of structure right here. So could we find a tap into, is there going to be supply right in this area? Or, I mean, demand? We might find some demand in here. Let's see if that's worth it. Yeah, that's what I thought. So basically right in here, you see how this area lights up, guys? So that area lights up because there's a lot of demand right there. And why is there demand there? Because that's the area that created this leg higher. Whatever took place in here created this leg, and that leg was powerful enough to create it was powerful enough to basically break this structure here. So now we have what's called a change of character. So the character is now to the upside. So the character of the market is bullish. So ignore supply. When you see that, I really don't care about supply zones anymore. Now that we have that, I really only care about the buy opportunity, which is in demand right here. So that's what I care about. So I actually like this one. This is and you know what's cool about this is it's correlating with the Euro franc. That's the other one I wrote down. So this one I'm also writing down because I might take this one. I might even do this one over the Euro franc because we already have an interest on the Euro franc. But yeah, if this guy could dip into here, that could be pretty good. So here's what that would look like. So your trade setup would look similar to now that you have your break of structure and we know that there's liquidity there, your trade setup would look like this. So you have a position here, a buy, and then you're looking to ride this up to the next supply zone. So something like that. That would give you a 1 to 4.4. So you win that trade right there, you're good. I mean, that sets your whole week up right there. Just one of those. That's all you need, right? Keep your stop tight, let your risk run, let your trade run. Okay. And that's actually not a bad setup. So I've already written it down. We only have a few more to look at. I probably will come back and take this trade, but I do want to look at just a few more real quick. Okay, guys. So just be patient with me as I kind of go through that process. Again, my philosophy is just to take the very best trades possible. Okay, here's the NZD JPY, and this guy, this is very similar to This is similar to the pound yen. Looks very similar, doesn't it? I mean, it's the Kiwi yen, so it can't be too far off, right? So anyway, you got 3 points of engagement. We've already kind of got that established. So you have a massive leg higher here. This is something to be reckoned with, isn't it? And then you've got a break of structure here. Okay, that's good. You also have a horizontal break right here, which is also good. So you're breaking a lot of structures on this move here. A lot of BOS going on. BOS. That's all looking pretty dang good. So now we got to find liquidity. So you can pull up these indicators and see if any area lights up. It looks like this general area lights up right here. That makes sense. So that lights up, not a ton. It doesn't light up as a lot, but it does light up. So that would be your area. Now you can hide those. This is your area right here. So you could look for a position, you know, that looks something similar to this. Something like that would be a setup. Could take this one. I honestly think I'm more interested in that NZD franc, just because the NZD franc had a lot of liquidity lighting up in that area we were just looking at. But I'm still writing this down because it does look pretty good. NZD JPY. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad setup. Okay. And then let's look at the Kiwi dollar. I'm not impressed. Okay, so I'll just move on. US 30, as you guys already know, we have a setup already here that we've taken. Okay, here's USD CAD. Okay, look at that. That's a pretty robust move right there, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, we are breaking to the upside, but I feel like we have better setups than this. So I'm going to skip. Here's USD franc breaking up. We already have a position on here with the COT report. Guys, this one really could run too. Where's the next supply? Just real quickly, where's the next supply on this? I guess there's a lot of supply throughout here, but if we can break through this area, which it looks like we are, the next supply area, let's see, actually, let me delete that. The next supply area is all the way here. That's 50 pips away. And then you got another one up here that's 100 pips away. And really this is where the ideal liquidity is. It's this guy right here. And that is how far away from the current. Here, let's delete these. From the current market. Yeah, it's 200 pips away. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Don't close your trade early, because we might be on the cusp of something big here, because it does look like it consolidated for a long time in July here. The USD franc is making a comeback, and it could run 200 pips, and you don't want to miss that, guys, because you're going to need those when you have losing times. And that's what keeps you profitable, is having big weeks like that. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, USD yen. We're already in this trade. Same thing with this guy. This guy could really run. He is running. And this one really took off, guys. So you had not only did you have a break in structure on the USD yen, as far as the trend goes right here, you had a break in the horizontal structure as well. So that, as soon as that happened, I think the banks and traders and everybody saw that and just said, oops, okay, this thing's really going. So it really is going. So this is our best trade of the week so far, the USD yen. And this guy could run, he's not done yet, I don't believe. I think this could go all the way up into this supply zone, which is another 130, 150 pips away. And honestly, it could even break above that. You know, who's to say it can't go up above that? You know, is there a supply out there? Yeah, there's supply up here. So I mean, if this thing wanted to go there this week, that's still, guys, that's another 400 pips away. Again, don't close your trades early. Right? All right, guys. So, okay, we got just a few more minutes. So what do I like? I like the NZD yen setup. But I think I might go with this one, honestly. Let's see, what indicators light up this area? So that one doesn't really light up, but Sonar Lab lights up 2 right there. and Smart Money has one right there too. I kind of like it. Is there anything below that area? Can I go to a different time frame and see if there's anything below it? No, the 2-hour really lights up. Look at that. Look at that, guys. 2-hour really lights up that area. So, okay, so that's, where does this area start? Right about here. So let's bring our entry in just a little. And let's put our stop there. How about a 3-hour? Anything below that? No, it just keeps lighting up that area pretty well. How about a 4-hour? Same thing. Okay, so I'm pretty sold on this, guys. Again, I'm not saying it will work. I just have, based off of my analysis and our analysis together, I think it makes a lot of sense. And you've got many different overlapping timeframes with many overlapping indicators saying the same thing, that that's a good area right there. So I feel like I've got to take that entry right here, and this gives us a 4 to it's a 1 to 4.66. So that's pretty close to 1 to 5. We haven't had a 1 to 5 in a little while. We've had several 1 to 4s and 1 to 3s. But yeah, if we can get close to 1 to 5, that really pays off big time. So let's go ahead and take this one. I do like it. So we're going to mark this as our BOS right here. And we're going to call this liquidity, because it is liquidity right here, right? This one's close to triggering too, by the way, just so you know. It's only you're only 20 pips away from that entry. Could you consider this a W? Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's definitely something. I mean, you can see your W right here. Yeah, you could definitely call that one of those. I'm not big into those patterns, as you know. I think I've said I know that, or that's how I kind of roll with patterns. I even have a webinar where I teach patterns, and they're pretty cool. But patterns, in my opinion, are an inferior way of looking at price action. But I think they're still they're worth knowing. So that's why I still teach it. Right. So looking at W's, M's, and pennants and flags and head and shoulders, it's worth knowing what they are. But they're definitely not worth basing your trade only off of a pattern. And I think you're in the same. I think you've kind of indicated you have the same mentality. But yeah, definitely another layer of confirmation if that's what if that's exactly what you're saying, right? Oh, and another one, US finger, I believe, just like the extra confirmation I can get. Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, any extra confirmation you can get helps. So even if it's an inferior indicator, and if it adds to your confirmation, that's great. The one thing I want to make very clear as you guys trade price action is just know that structure is king. There's nothing better than structure. In fact, there's no indicator out there that will help you learn to be a better trader than how structure is breaking. Are we breaking trend lines? Are we breaking the horizontal support and resistance? Whatever's happening at that moment matters more than an SMA, an EMA, matters more than your MACDs. Those things just pale in comparison to your study and analysis of what price action is actually doing at the moment, right? And this market is so gosh dang competitive. It's so competitive. It doesn't feel competitive because it's just you and your computer, but you really are competing against the best, right? So that's what we're doing. We're competing against the very best. And so the very best is always looking for a way to be better than everybody else. And so in order to be better than everybody else, we have to figure out how to catch things before anybody else is there. We have to be there before, we have to be the first two opportunities, essentially. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and add this in. So we got NZD Frank, and we're also going to trade. Let's add this in. NZD Frank, where'd you go? Where is it? NZD. I had it. There it is. Oh, let me just do this. You know what I realized from last week? A lot of you guys have pointed this out. A lot of our COT trades last week, had we been able to hold on or maybe buy at different prices, we would have done so much better. It's okay though. I mean, it's just the way the COT report works. But yeah, we could have avoided a lot of losses if we had used buy limits instead. But you know, not every week's going to work that way. So I don't want to change the strategy up just because, you know, that's what it did recently. But yeah, it's just interesting that the banks have been buying those positions. And obviously, had we held on, we would have done very well, but it's just an interesting thing. Okay, guys, I'm just putting in these numbers. So 0.54865, and then we have a stop loss at 0.53337. So 7865 and 0.53337. Okay, that looks good, guys. I'm going to go ahead and post that. So go ahead and add this to your portfolio of price action trades, which we have 3 open at the moment. So at some point we should be getting some signals setting up here soon, or we should be having a few. You know, hopefully we have a few of these price action trades actually trigger soon. Like I said, this one's only 20 pips away or so, so we'll see. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your attendance today. Thank you for coming. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar. Thanks for coming.